We're
Okay.
ready to go. All right,
There you
Kenny,
go.
without further ado, I turn it over to
Great.
you.
Oh, excellent. So welcome to our session on what we call Control-Alt+PM. We'll first introduce ourselves as I am Kenny Kranseler. I am a principal consultant and trainer over at Productside, living in Seattle, Washington. I've been in Productside for about 5 or 6 years. Before that, spent a long time as a product manager. Ryan, you want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. And I'm Ryan Cantwell. I've spent about 20 years of my career in the wide world, vast majority of which are acting as product professionals, so as a product manager, leading product teams, doing all kinds of product related stuff.
Fantastic. All right. Before we dive into the webinar, let me talk a little bit about Productside, who we are, what the team is behind today's webinar, right? Um, we take a viewpoint that it can be really hard to deliver products that users not only use, but actually love using. It comes to aligning stakeholders, predicting customer needs, managing endless backlogs of features that need to be developed. We've seen it all. And it's really why we're here, right? We strive to be your outcome-driven product partner in all you do. And we don't just provide a set of solutions, we tailor them to meet your unique challenges, allowing you to start to transform your product management organization from things like purely execution to drive to strategy, right? We're there with you to help you make that transformation to really understand who your customers are, what they need, and how you develop solutions for them, right? And we don't come with just a standard one-off approach. We really sort of tailor what we need. We have come from a perspective, but we tailor it to meet the challenges that you have. Your challenges are unique. We understand that, and so our solutions meet that. And we've got a team of invested experts, not just Ryan and I, but a whole cast of trainers, consultants, folks who will work with you to really become an extension of your team that have extensive experience in product management. We're obsessed with making you all successful, if you will, right? So we're thrilled to have you all today. Let's dive in and help your product teams move in and thrive and be successful going forward, right? So before we dive in, let's talk a little bit about how we might make this session more interactive. First, question I always get from folks is, can I watch this recording later? The answer is absolutely yes. We are recording this session and we'll send you all a link to that recording after the webinar ends, so you don't have to go in and take copious notes if you don't want to. And during the session, we want to make it more interactive. We want to hear from you. We have a feature in the Zoom webinar called Q&A. Please use that to ask questions. I'll monitor them throughout. Don't feel like you have to wait until the end of the session before you throw a question in there. If it's relevant for a point that Ryan's in at a specific point in time, don't worry, I'll interrupt him. I'm good at that. We like to engage with folks in real time. And don't stop there. We've got other features too. There's a chat feature so you can connect with other fellow product managers that are on this session with you all. Ask your colleagues questions, share your own experiences, or just cheer each other on. The chat's really a space for you to learn from each other as much as from us. So let's keep the energy back up. Don't hold back. This is really your chance to get the most out of today's session.
I love it.
The next thing we have is last point before we dig into today's topic, I'll take a moment, invite you to connect with Productside on LinkedIn. Our LinkedIn page has a ton of content, right? It's more than just a place to follow us. It's really sort of a community. And when you join us, you get access to things like best practices on leadership that can inspire your own growth, right? You'll enable some conversations about what the role of product management is and tips on how you can be more successful and impactful in your role. And really, it's an opportunity to network with other professionals who share some of your same challenges, who share some of your same goals, all right? So you can either scan the code that's on your screen right now and you'll be able to join us instantly, or you can just jump into the link that is laid out here, right? We'd love your thoughts, swap ideas. We really want to keep the conversation from today going after today's finished as we continue to build a stronger product management community together.
Absolutely.
So before I'll now hand it over to Ryan to walk us through the content on Control-Alt+PM.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kenny, and welcome everybody. I'm so excited to be with you today. We've got kind of an exciting webinar on deck. Rather than a traditional, I share some content and then off you go with some new knowledge, I'm actually going to demo things live. So I'm going to be giving you things at the end where I'll tell you, take a screenshot. You can use this. So look forward to stuff like that. But most of all, Kenny, I don't know if you feel it too, but a lot of product managers I'm talking to today say they want to be strategic. They want to be empowered and they want to be more forward looking. But I think most of us are still running our kind of like product management game in the pre-AI world. And I'm today hoping to kind of hold up a mirror to see what that legacy mode looks like and offer a reboot. So as we look ahead, like what does it look like to be a product person operating in this AI driven world? And through the content today, we're going to take that reflection to get started. We're going to perform the reboot and we're going to have the new system installed where we'll do our demos and lots of cool stuff. So let's get into it. Our system warning is flashing. Legacy mode has been detected. And I want to start with a feeling, not a framework. Maybe you felt this a little bit lately, but to me, something feels a little bit off in product management right now. And I'm not the only one sensing that. I'm sure of it. Just think about it. You're juggling more tools than ever, but alignment slips through the cracks. You're invited to every meeting, yet often excluded from actual decisions. You spend your days writing tickets while wondering, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? And it's like we're running a modern product organization on that outdated operating system. Too many pop-ups, lagging response times, and random crashes we can't predict. And if you've been feeling like the role is shifting under your feet, that may be because the job as we knew it and have mastered in 2019 didn't hit this isn't hitting the same as in 2025. And if you're feeling a little bit like that, you might not be alone. So something is broken, and naming it is the first step to rebooting it. So let this be your permission to feel frustrated. That tension you're feeling, it's your signal. It's time for the upgrade. So let's engage you all right now. I want to know from you. So if we could launch our first poll for the day, and let's have some fun with it too, everybody. If your product management career were an operating system, what is it doing right now? Not only feel free to answer the question in the poll, but drop some words into chat that might describe your PM OS. Is it glitchy? Is it stuck? Is it scrambling? Jittery? Or slowly rebooting? What's going on? Yeah, sure. It says firefighting the
Firefighting the
bugs while
bugs.
trying to figure out the future. Ooh, that is, yes, that is
Looks
very
looks
real.
like that too many tabs open is the one that's driving
Too many
people
tabs.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, Emily, I see all of the above. I can't answer can I answer all of them, please? All right, we'll take maybe about 20 seconds, everybody. Get your responses in. All right, there is a clear winner here. I'm gonna
Yeah,
close
we've
the
got a big
poll
one.
and
We can
share the
share the results.
results.
There we go.
So look at this. We've got
That's that tabs open thing.
too many
There's too
tabs
much going
open,
on.
and one of them is playing mystery audio. We don't know what's happening. And as funny as all of this is, it's also very real. These metaphors are how it feels to be a product person right now. And the thing is, you didn't cause these problems. You're the one stuck with having to navigate them. And that's why we need more than a band aid. We need an upgrade, a new way of thinking about what this role is really about in the AI era. And that's where we're headed next. So, whether we are running slow and it keeps reminding us to update or patching bugs that we didn't cause, or totally frozen and the fan sounds like it's trying to take off. It doesn't matter. We are going to look for ways to overcome as we go forward. All right. So, as we look ahead, I want to kind of set the level with everybody. This isn't a revolution that we're talking about. It's more of a true update, not a tear down, a reboot. We're not throwing away the fundamentals. Those fundamentals we need to keep. Those are important in what makes us good product people. We're rethinking how these fundamentals get done. That's the difference. In the old operating system, we defined our value by what we personally created, by the artifacts that got generated, like PRDs and user stories and requirement stocks, and even the outcomes that those things attempted to create. But the new operating system runs on more of a collaboration. It's shifting us from creator to curator and conductor and even coach. And it's not about learning new tools for the sake of it. It's about evolving how we work with them and even how we think to create that value we need to create. And that's why we're not talking about AI as a novelty or a bolt-on. We're here to reboot our system and reframe what it means to do product management in this new era. So we don't need to start over, we just need to catch up. And that starts with a reboot, not replacement. So I want to impress upon you that I don't see the threat as AI at all. It's actually the product manager next door that knows how to use AI better. So as I clear this up, AI isn't necessarily gunning for the product job. It's upgrading the skill bar for everyone's job. So think about it this way. You're not racing the robot. You're racing the person who figured out how to partner with the robot. They're Iron Man. Alone, they're Tony Stark, a super smart business person, but with AI, they climb into the suit and become a superhero. So this moment is less like the rise of a competitor and more like a relay race when you're holding the baton and someone else is sprinting past you with jet-powered shoes. So that someone else may not be more experienced, in fact, but they've learned how to prompt better, faster, and more efficiently to enable their product work. And that's where we see the gap widening. Relevance is the finish line. Every minute we spend unsure of how to work with AI is another step behind the leaders in this new race. So let me tell you a quick story. And this is a kind of a story of two product managers who were given the same challenge. The challenge is come up with a value proposition and a positioning strategy for your next release by Friday. So product manager number one, they did what we've all done. They opened a doc, they did a Google search for a template, they started with a blank page. They got buried in tabs of competitive research, chased feedback from 5 different stakeholders, and by Thursday night, they had a rough draft. Too late for review and too unfocused to land once they presented it. Now, product manager number two, with the same prompt, they used AI, but differently. They started by asking Perplexity to do some deep research and summarize recent market shifts. Then they moved to Claude and asked it to summarize customer research and the team previously conducted. And finally, they went to ChatGPT, consolidated their learning, and asked it to generate a few compelling positioning statements leveraging the information they captured, each tailored to different segments. They iterated in real time with live information. And by Wednesday, they were sharing their draft with stakeholders that felt clear, strategic, and aligned. So you can see, same assignment, 2 radically different outcomes. The difference wasn't talent, it was experience. It was knowing how to prompt and which tool to use. So again, it's not about being replaced, it's about being outpaced. Mastering AI is the new advantage. And if you've ever felt like you're running as fast as you can just to stay in place, this is why. You're not falling behind because you're not trying hard enough. You're falling behind because you're using a legacy operating system in an AI native world that we find ourselves in today. And we're here to fix that.
AI is our friend, right, Ryan? Not our
AI
enemy.
is our friend. It's not a foe, it's a friend, Kenny. All right, so it's time to reboot, everybody. So let's press Ctrl, Alt, Alt+PM on our operating system and initiate the upgrade. And with this, it hit me hard. Kenny, I got a chance to talk to somebody, this fella named Zach Hayes, and it was enlightening. And when I heard him say the words, I don't know how to be a product manager anymore. And this, not only from a product manager, but a seasoned product leader, no less. I was floored. And as we think about ourselves, this is where many of us are competent and experienced and yet uncertain. It's not because we've lost our edge, it's because the world changed faster than we did. And Zach's words kind of capture the real reboot moment here. It's not fear, but reflection. And reflection is the first keystroke in our Ctrl+Alt+PM equation. So know, everybody, that you're not broken. You're in transition, and that's exciting. This isn't about starting over. It's about upgrading what's already been valuable. And that's what we get to talk about. So what if the only thing standing between you and irrelevance is your operating system? Let's talk about what it really means to reboot as a product manager. The first keystroke is control. Let's stop doing what AI can do by itself. Too much of our day is spent doing things that algorithms and agent logic in an AI tool can do faster, cheaper, and maybe even better. Maybe things like writing user stories, summarizing notes, formatting decks. And if AI can do it, it's no longer your differentiator. So reclaim control of your calendar and your energy by maybe cutting some of those tasks that commoditize you. And then we can move on to our Alt key, rethink your value. This isn't about getting better at the same old things. Those old things are what need to be deleted. You bring human insights, empathy, context, and strategic judgment to the table. The value isn't what you output. It's why and how you navigate the complexity of your context to create that value. And AI can help you move faster there. And then finally, we need to reclaim our identity as product professionals. We become product managers because we love solving problems that matter. I mean, that's a lot of us do it for that reason. But somewhere along the way, many of us became backlog babysitters and even roadmap decorators. And it's time to reboot. So we can restore that part of us that thinks deeply, that leads with confidence and experiments like a scientist to validate our ideas. So product manager isn't just a title. It's a mindset that I'd love for all of you to adopt. So think about this, like kind of reboot that's happening as your role's changing a little bit. You can either fight it, fear it, or reboot into something better. So as we talk about what that reboot actually looks like, the truth is that AI is no longer just a tool. It's a teammate. It's really fast and capable. And you've got a choice. Spend your energy trying to beat it at its own game or lean into what only humans can do. So on the left that you see here, you can see what AI can do better than us today. Maybe not perfectly, but efficiently. Things like documentation, data synthesis, and output-driven prioritization. This is the stuff we used to think defined the PM role. But if we cling to that definition, we risk becoming obsolete. That's where the rethinking begins. On the right, you see where you win and where your energy should go in our new AI era. This is your upgrade path. So let go of the output treadmill. Stop doing what AI can do faster and free yourself from the illusion that product managers prove their worth by writing more tickets and typing faster. Then reclaim that part of your job AI can't do. The creative, the non-linear, the strategic thinking. Spot patterns, synthesize across chaos, turn raw insights into bold bets. And then finally, and this is perhaps the most important part, own the human side, the empathy, the clarity, the change. AI doesn't rally a team. It doesn't hold room during stakeholder meetings, and it doesn't make humans feel heard. You do. So don't compete with it, complement it. If we embrace these human superpowers and we don't just survive the AI shift, we can actually lead through it. All right. So as we look at what we can do to become better product people and upgrade ourselves, think of these three skills as core components of your new operating system. They are the foundational code designed for a world where AI isn't your rival, but your teammate. So, discovery is like your radar. It keeps you close to real problems, cuts through assumptions, and helps you ask better questions. AI can actually help you here to surface those patterns, develop new assumptions, and help you ask better questions. But only you can spot what matters. It's just helping you uncover some of those things. And then next, be a better storyteller. Storytelling is like the power cord to your operating system. It's energizing your team. It's aligning stakeholders and connecting facts to feelings. It's not enough to build the right thing. You need to help others believe it's the right thing to build based upon the information that you've kind of curated and collected. And then finally, you have strategic influence. This is your compass. It's pointing towards impact over activity. You make the trade-offs, set the direction, and ensure that at every step AI takes it's in service to that strategy. And you are guiding it towards helping you make better decisions towards the real business bets that you make. It can help you, it can simulate things. It can help be your thought partner and kind of put these bigger picture items together. But your human mind is the only one that can truly make the trade-off. So a few weeks ago, everybody, a product manager I coach, we'll call her Priya, got hit with one of those classic product manager curveballs. A senior stakeholder sent her a Teams message out of nowhere. And it was, can we fast track the integration for client X? They're a huge deal. Let's prioritize this in the next sprint. Now, here's where Priya would have gone into firefighting mode. She would have pulled the backlog, scrambled the team, wrote a PRD at midnight. Like, you know the drill, right? All the things that need to happen to respond. But Priya's running the rebooted OS. First, she opened ChatGPT. She dropped the Slack message in with this prompt: act like my discovery partner. Ask me clarifying questions that will help uncover the customer's problem behind this request. So the AI asked, what outcome does client X need from this integration? Do we know what job this integration enables for them? And what happens if we don't do this right now? So in less than 5 minutes, she had a clear problem statement framed around the client's business need. She had a few risky assumptions to validate before committing, and a stakeholder response drafted that was clear, confident, and grounded in impact. So instead of reacting, Priya led. And this is the best part. Her stakeholder thanked her, not just for the response, but for helping them think more clearly too. So master these three things, and you're not falling behind. You're leading your reboot. So let's ask our next poll question before we start getting into some of the fancy stuff that we have going on next. But tell me, if we're thinking about AI as a teammate, you can say hi. Welcome to the team, AI. Here's your first assignment. What do you want them to do? Like, where could you see the most help happening?
We're
And
gonna
while that
chat.
happens, I
Sorry.
see in chat, Chad, you had asked a question. One of my open tabs is pulling me away. Will there be a
Yeah,
recording?
there
Yes,
will.
absolutely. Okay, I see another clear
We
winner.
got another clear winner. We got some clear direction here, Ryan.
I see that. All
People
right,
are
we'll give everybody
people.
another 10 seconds or so to respond. All right, let's share these results, everybody. All right, check it out. We got a
Writing
winner.
those
It is
tedious docs.
Writing the tedious docs.
Write for me, please.
Yeah. Honestly, there's so much I don't even know where to start. Thank you, Sherry. Yes, but the tedious docs, oh my gosh, like some days I remember it, Kenny, when I was a product person, I felt like all I did was write user stories. I
Yeah.
go, oh
It
no,
can help
like
us do that.
oh no, it's like so frustrating.
Just gotta feed it right.
That's right. We can use AI to do that. Or even like one of my favorites is when the leader walks up and says, "Oh, just write a business case, product manager. Just fill out the template." And the
Mhm.
template's like 150 pages long, and you don't know which way is up.
It'll help us figure out where to start. That's always a good thing too, right?
Exactly. So look at this. So translating stakeholder rambling into something useful. Yes, that's our second place finisher. Brainstorming fresh assumptions, which I can go and test. I think that is a wonderful application for
Help kick
AI.
off the thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, and then spotting insights in the data, maybe that I've missed or not even just ignored, or ignored is a little strong, but things that I may have overlooked. I think that's really good too. Let's allow it to kind of put on the Iron Man suit, like we said, and work a little faster. All right, so let's start doing some live stuff. So our new operating system has been installed. We have seen what we can do, kind of bring the human element to the conversation. But now, everybody, as we transition into this, what I'm going to do, just to set the expectation, is I am going to set up a scenario and I am going to give you a prompt. So, what I'd like you to do is when you see these prompts, is take a screenshot. Everybody, grab it. And I'd love for you to use it yourself. Like, you don't have to follow along with me necessarily, like, run it at the same time, but we just watch the shared screen as Kenny and I kind of work through some of these things. And these prompts are really intended for you to take away to help you do some of these key things that we've talked about here. We're looking at those three areas of research, storytelling, and strategy to kind of help ourselves make better decisions as we go. So let's look at the first one. Let's talk about it real quick. So this is your first opportunity to take a screenshot, everybody. Because let's be honest, most stakeholders, their asks show up like this. Can we build X because somebody else already did? Uh-huh. So it's usually not that strategic, and it's never validated. And worst of all, it's not even about the user. But here's the catch. Buried inside every vague ask is something important. The real value hides behind the request. And the demo I'm about to go through shows you how to use AI to uncover it without doing it alone. So it's gonna, again, speed you up. You're gonna start running faster by receiving these drive requests and being able to react to them not with firefighting, but with strategy. And that's what it's gonna be all about. So here's how this will work, everybody. I'm gonna do my best to move deliberately so you can see what's happening, but you'll see here I am using Chat GPT. These prompts will work in any AI tool. I know some of you might be working in protected instances of Copilot or GPT, or you're using Grok or Claude. It doesn't matter, but know that the tools that are out there kind of learn some of their strengths and weaknesses. I'm primarily leaning on GPT here, but this can be used for others. And I would even encourage you to run it in different models if you are able to see what you get. It's kind of give you a more rounded picture, if you will. All right, so everybody, without further ado, our first prompt. So that prompt that I showed you on the slide, I have just pasted into GPT, and I am going to fire away. So we'll see how our AI, our friendly AI, responds. So it says, perfect. I'm ready to act as your product discovery partner. Please go ahead and share the vague stakeholder request you're working with. Once I see it, I'll ask you a series of focused, clarifying questions to uncover the user outcome, surface unmet needs or pains, and reframe the issue using a persona-driven format. So what I'm about to do, everybody, is before I give it the dry request, I prefer to set a little bit of context so it's not completely blind or cold. So we're gonna play pretend. Kenny and I are gonna do some role playing, and we're gonna pretend that we are. I am a product manager. Kenny is my stakeholder, and we work at Microsoft. And the product that I manage, Microsoft Teams. So a tool that we all use. So I'm gonna just tell it that context of okay, here is who I am. Here's what my product does and who it serves, just so it has kind of that frame to get me going. So I'll feed it the context. It says, great, thanks for the context. All right, so next, it's time for our dry request. So Kenny has sent me a note. That note is this. Hey Ryan, Zoom has this cool feature where you can quickly switch to breakout rooms with one click during a live meeting. Can we add something like that to Teams? Feels like we're falling behind. Sound like a request maybe some of you have received before? All right, so let's see what happens. So it's giving us affirmation. I find AI, it's always very positive. It loves to affirm me. I have to, if I want it to be critical, I have to yell at it and say like, no, I need you to be more critical. Don't just tell me everything's good. So look at this. It's asking us some questions, some user discovery questions. We have 8 here in total. So it's giving me, as the product manager, some food for thought. Aha, how should I think about this request? How can I understand these outcomes? How can I understand the underlying problem? So this is where Kenny and I are going to pretend. So Kenny, I'm going to put you on the hook. I'm going to ask you some questions and we're going to do this live. So let's try. So, Kenny,
Yes.
what stakeholder do you want to be at Microsoft? Who is asking for this and who do they believe would benefit from it?
So a lot of it's gonna it probably internal facilitators, people who are running meetings,
Okay.
managing meetings, they get lost.
There's internal facilitators. And what role are you going to play as a stakeholder at Microsoft? What perspective?
Oh, I'm going to be the salesperson that's been asked for this by a bunch of customers, or got hammered by this from a customer who I was trying to sell Teams to.
Okay, like I'm using Grammarly too. AI's everywhere. It's correcting me. All right, so let's look at the next question. We don't need to answer all 8 of them. We're only going to take a few, and this is how we get started. Maybe we can answer a few of these things. Okay, so let's see. What impact does the friction have on the meeting itself when you've seen this pop up, Kenny?
So they claim that people get sort of disengaged. They start acting on other things because it causes a significant delay in their ability to react and make changes in what's going on.
So people in the meeting become disengaged and they lose interest, and the facilitator
Can't keep their attention.
can't keep their attention. Okay, we'll do one more. How about this one? Um, how often do you see these facilitators needing to use breakout rooms?
It's usually on larger meetings where they have multiple groups that need to do work outside of the work they're working on. So it's probably on a almost a daily basis because they tend to run into this.
Perfect. All right. So with those responses, you can see I answered 3 of the 8 questions. This is excellent. Thanks for those details. Here's what we're starting to uncover. It's asking me. It
Oh, more
knows, Kenny.
questions.
It knows. Yeah, it wants more detail. So let's see. What specific action or moment is causing the drop in engagement? So,
It's trying to it's working with the individual teams,
okay.
working
So,
with the breakout groups
okay.
when they get stuck.
Drops when people get stuck and the facilitator
Can't help it.
can't help. Love it. Okay. So, what do the facilitators ultimately want the meeting to achieve or the breakout rooms to achieve?
It's more around combined um, collaboration and brainstorming, I think.
For meeting participants. Okay. And how do they describe Zoom in comparison? Just faster, or do they mention anything else that they like about the experience?
Um, the key is it's more engaging and the facilitator has more control over the meeting.
Okay. Zoom to more control. Love it. Okay. Here we go. And we've got a clear problem statement generating right now. So it's saying, I am an internal facilitator running large virtual meetings in Microsoft Teams. Aha, there's the user that we mentioned, right? Trying to increase collaboration and brainstorm among participants. There's the outcome they want to achieve, but I lose people during breakout sessions because they get stuck or confused and I don't have control I need to help them quickly. Problem. Which makes me feel frustrated, ineffective, and worried that Teams isn't meeting our needs. Emotion. Look at that. We framed the problem very nicely. So as we look at that very simple flow, you saw us work through. So yeah, and Sherry, I like what you said there. It seems like AI is helping us try to dig into the seven what's and whys to help figure this stuff out.
Yep.
That's exactly what it's doing. It's helping us surface the things that are important so we don't lose sight of what's going on here. So what that dry request that came in from is not just a feature request anymore. It's a problem statement that you can prioritize, test, and even sell internally. So AI helped me just turn noise into narrative, which is pretty cool. So stakeholder asks should now, when they don't come in as customer problems, we can change them into problems. And you as great product people now know not to reject or accept too fast. You clarify. And AI is helping you do that. It might feel like at first you're slowing down, but in fact, that's not true at all. You're actually taking a breath, slowing down for a moment to reframe just to go move faster. Asking the right questions without getting stuck is what it's letting you do. So as we look at this one, and for funsies, here we go, everybody. Here's a bonus. This is a bonus. Like as we get our problem statement, we can add this follow-up prompt to show how AI can help us generate assumptions. So like based on that problem statement, help me identify what risky assumptions might be that I can go validate. So I, as the product person, can go add value back to the organization. So we can bring things to the surface just by asking simple follow-up prompts like this one. So now you can communicate your problem statement. You can share it with your stakeholders who made the request because you've now validated the risky assumptions to make sure you're aligned and you understand who experiences the problem and even why. Now you can prioritize problems, not solutions. Now that you have a problem, you that you validated with research, test by testing your assumptions, you can identify the pain points as priorities. Like imagine that world, everybody, when you're not just talking about solutions, you're actually prioritizing outcomes and problems. And now with that information, think about how much easier it becomes to write your user stories using the problem frame as your foundation. Now, think about how easy it is to communicate and motivate your stakeholders, especially within marketing. So your messaging is on point. And Kenny, being my sales stakeholder, say, "Hey, I heard you. Like this is what we're doing. Here's how we're gonna help." So they kind of see the work that we do and how we do it. All right, let's talk about another one, our second prompt, and we've all been here as well. You receive a great idea, quote unquote, great idea. It gets dropped in your lap. And before you know it, you're halfway into a Jira ticket before asking, wait, why are we building this? And this demo is about breaking that reflex. It's about using AI to make better decisions, not just faster assumptions. So strategy, as we look at that word strategy, it's about being smarter and making better decisions. It's actually about taking the necessary time in the right moments so that we can be faster everywhere else because our decisions are more focused. So let's turn AI into a strategy coach, someone who slows you down just long enough so everything else can speed up. That's what the role AI is playing here. So let's try it out. So another screenshot opportunity, y'all. And if I switch back to GPT, I'm going to start a new prompt string. And I'm going to paste in my prompt from the slide that you saw and fire away. All right, so it's telling me, all right, let's zoom out together before diving into solution mode. And it's asking us some clarifying questions, some key clarifying questions that were part of the prompt. I'm going to feed it the context. So it's telling me what do we want to solve? It's giving me some like an example, which is I always like. Whose outcome are we trying to improve? What behavior needs to change to achieve the outcome? And how will we know if this is the right thing to pursue? So I've done some pre-work, everybody, and look at this. I have some preloaded responses to those 4 questions. So as we look at those 4 questions, you'll see I'm giving it a very simple 1-sentence reply. All right. We're following our Microsoft Teams example, by the way. So facilitators lose momentum and engagement during meetings, internal facilitators who lead live sessions in Teams, and so on and so forth. So let's just send it away. Aha. Okay. So now look at this. It is giving us a product outcome statement. What is the result we're trying to achieve? It's enabling internal facilitators to seamlessly launch breakout rooms by reducing setup friction. So they can maintain participant engagement and meeting momentum, measured by increased breakout usage and fewer Zoom-related complaints. I want you to notice something very important here, Kenny. You probably see it too. There's no solution. There's no
Nope.
solution suggested there. So as we look at that outcome statement, so now it's telling us why this is important. The outcome does a few key things. It's telling us why it's important and how we can use it to communicate. So look at that, everybody. Now we have an outcome statement to pursue. And kind of notice what's happening. AI isn't giving me an answer. It's giving me better questions. It's helping me think and link the idea that we have to a particular outcome before I overcommit my team's time and energy to doing that thing. So I really like kind of the what's going on in terms of like reframing the idea as a strategic product outcome as part of the prompt, because that's the kind of language that changes minds in a stakeholder meeting. And this is your alignment accelerator. This prompt slows you down just enough to make smarter, more strategic decisions faster. So strategy is better decision making, not better decks. AI can be your coach, not your consultant necessarily. So let it guide your thinking, not replace it. And use this prompt to kind of ask better questions and help you prioritize the outcomes that you seek to achieve. Which outcomes are we looking to deliver? And that's where AI can really help you. All right. So our final demo that we have here is now the narrative builder. Something I am particularly passionate about, everybody, and that is storytelling, or being a good storyteller to motivate action. Because as product people, we don't just ship features, we ship belief, and that belief starts with a story. Because most product updates, I feel, land flat. We've all sat through those meetings, right? Where it feels like, this is dull. And it's not because they're not useful, but because they sound like this. We've added a button that does a thing. Now it's available. Uninspired. So nobody gets excited about that. Not sales, not marketing, not even your own team. But this prompt is the prompt that helps you flip the switch from data dump to narrative clarity. So let's give it a go, like we were doing before. As we work our way through it, we are going to tell it, you are my product storytelling partner. I, yet again, am going to set the context on my new chain. And I am going to give it an example of a dry product update. So here's our dry product update. Add smart filters to the dashboard to improve visibility into customer usage trends and prioritize It's like, oh my goodness, this doesn't mean anything. All right, so let's give it a go and see what happens. So look at this. It is now starting to help me craft a narrative. So we're saying, aha, our sales team and marketing teams need sharper visibility into how B2B customers actually use Teams, what features they rely on, what they ignore, and where engagement drops off. Right now, that dashboard gives us a flood of data, but not enough clarity. We're flying blind when it comes to spotting usage trends. And then finally, we're building up to the problem. You see that in the tension. And then in the payoff, our payoff is how we're going to help that. Now we can start talking about the solution. And I maybe you haven't spotted it quite yet, everybody, but the 3 demos that I've just walked through can actually be used in sequence. We can start with understanding an outcome and a problem, prioritizing that problem clearly, and now finally telling a clear narrative about how we plan to solve that problem. So looking at this, it's very simple, it's very concise. So this prompt is helping you like put those thoughts together in a clear way. So you just watched AI turn a boring update into a motivating message. And if you lead with that kind of story, you don't just get buy-in, you get alignment. So product people, we aren't just builders. We're explainers, we're influencers, we're translators. Dry facts don't motivate, stories do. And this prompt turns your decisions into motivation. And that's what it does. And similar to the first one, I've got a bonus prompt for everybody here as well. And this is one I just very personally like. If you haven't heard of it before, there's something called the SCQA framework. And by kind of helping craft my narrative in a slightly different way, I find it can help me write email messages that are very concise and I get better responses. It can help me put together my thoughts if I'm standing in front of a room of leaders about, okay, what led us here, set the context, situation, the complication or the problem that we're trying to overcome, what question I was trying to answer, and then what I'm recommending, my answer. But this prompt is showing how AI can guide your thinking without replacing it. It's demonstrating how product people can quickly build strategic narratives from messy inputs, and it's reinforcing your 3 lines. There we go. So use this prompt. I quite like it. It's going to help guide you, and you'll start to see this is more of a mental model than it is just a true prompt that gives you an answer. And I like when I can use AI in those ways. So finally, as we wrap up here, everybody, things we want to uninstall are things that we can automate with AI. Those things that are low leverage and kind of the old way of doing it. So whether it's writing documents, whether it's waiting on perfect data, or maybe even chasing stakeholder requests, we can uninstall those things. And from an update perspective, we want to be more human-centered, more high-value behavior. So let's try to update those things and synthesize research better, validate our ideas, use AI to explore multiple paths, perhaps, that maybe would have taken us more time than without it, and help us craft clearer, faster narratives. And then we can reinstall the things that set us apart by spending more time now listening to customer struggles, by spending more time on strategy and making trade-off decisions and leading with purpose and outcomes. All right, with that, Kenny, I'm going to turn it over to you because I think we have some exciting things
Great.
going on at
Yes,
Productside.
we have a couple of things. Just because you've been to this webinar, we have some great offers for you. One is you can get a special price, get $200 off to actually take our full class that goes into way more demos, and you get a chance to play with it yourself on using and leveraging AI as a product manager, right? So you can get $200 off if you click on this QR code, and we're running from July 24th, from 4 live sessions for about 4 hours each. And then you can actually even leverage that to be certified as a AI product manager. So we've got a limited set of seats that are available until July 17th at $1,999. If you miss this opportunity, you're going to wind up paying more or play catch up. So don't do that. Have a chance to jump into our AI training class that's coming up soon with a special price of $200 off our normal price. We also have a webinar coming up in the coming weeks with a partner of ours that called Metabase. And we'll be running an engaging session about scattered metrics to move ready insights, leveraging Metabase. So if you're interested in that webinar to leverage metrics that can help you understand and what's going on from an insightful perspective, please join Tom Evans from Productside and Tanya from Metabase as they walk through sort of how that's happening, and that's happening next Wednesday if you're interested.
Yeah, and Kenny, just to mention, Metabase was the winner of our Product Pick'em.
Right,
That
that's
went,
correct.
yeah, they were our big winner from Product Pick'em in March.
That is correct.
Mhm.
And just to give you some insight into some other classes that are happening at Productside, we've got some online classes that are happening in July and August and into September. And then we're actually running some, if you're either in the UK or close to New York or Austin, we're actually running some live sessions. And Ryan's hosting the one in New York in October. So if you want to do some in-person sessions in London, New York, or Austin later this year, please sign up for those on the Productside website. So lots happening at Productside for that perspective. And I think
Absolutely.
we've got about 5 or so minutes left for questions and answers. So if you have any questions that you have about what Ryan's talked about coming up, please feel free to throw them into the Q&A panel of Zoom, and we'll address those. There's a couple that I've already seen come through. One of them, Ryan, what if my company has strict rules about using generative AI? What should I do?
Oh, oh boy. A lot of us deal with this. So one, I want you to recognize you're not alone. Some companies, and it is, there are risks associated with this. We have to be careful. So it's not like as we all know, I mean, we've seen and heard, we can't feed the model with sensitive data. We need to be careful when oh, Sherry's asking about security concerns.
Yeah,
I want to download my own. Are there ones you would suggest? But yes. So Kenny, I'm going to answer your question, Sherry. I
yeah,
want to address yours as well.
yeah.
But even if you can't use AI to generate final documents or put live data into it, you can still use it as a thought partner. So think of it like whiteboarding, kind of being a brainstorming guide. So you can ask it high level assumptions and questions, or even genericize a little bit to help you maybe prep for things, ask better questions, refine problems, and treat it in a way that is going to help guide you rather than just create finished, clean, nice outputs. So, yes, Sherry, security concerns are abound. You want to download your own LLM, and are there any we would suggest particularly? Sometimes, Sherry, I don't have a precise recommendation like go use this one because I know organizations at a corporate level, they're making decisions about a protected instance. Like, for example, I deal with people and organizations that say we're using Copilot. Copilot is going to give us access. It's protected. Anything we feed to this model with our login, it's not going to hit the wider model. It's safe. And it will also point back to internal databases for those who are tech savvy and in the know with AI. That's called a RAG, a retrieval augmented generation. It's doing some of those things where it's looking at internal databases, and you can spin up some of these instances. I know Copilot has I've seen that as a popular choice because Microsoft is already so deeply ingrained in these organizations. It links to SharePoint and Teams and all the other stuff, making it easy to retrieve. I do have other clients that are using protected instances of OpenAI, ChatGPT as well. So, so know that there are
Right.
options for you out there.
Great. Thanks, Ryan. Another question came up, right? If I'm a traditional come from a traditional product management role, how do I start to showcase my AI competency to position myself for some of these new AI PM roles? And the real question is how are traditional PMs successfully securing jobs in the AI world?
Oh, interesting. Okay, so I know this is a big thing. And Kenny, I have to laugh. because it's the trend. Everybody needs to put the AI label on their
Yeah.
LinkedIn headline
Yeah.
profile. So it seems like the way of the world. AI is everywhere. So if you're a traditional PM, how do I showcase AI competency to position myself for AI PM roles? So I think that the first and best thing that you can do, Shiva, is to educate yourself. Look for ways that you can use even. Okay, Kenny, I need to back up, and maybe you can supplement me a little bit. There's two things you can do. Thing one is to become a better product person, enable your own workflows with AI. Like that's thing one. How do I become a better, stronger product person? Which is a lot of what we talked about today in the webinar. Thing two is get familiar with is AI. Can I create value through my product with AI? So that's kind of it's a very different path. Maybe looking for ways to find like do understand problems clearly. And if you have an organization that's asking you like put AI in it is the kind of what it gets boiled down to. Make sure you are the adult in the room, that you're competent in kind of the technologies, you are doing product manager things, and you know how to use AI. And you can start to highlight that your discovery that you're doing surrounding AI in on your resume and say, hey, I've understood problems that AI can solve for, and I use AI to do these sort of things. Something you can do very quickly is as you get more proficient, Shiva, start a GitHub with the prompts that you're using and put it on your resume so people can see it. Publish it. Show people how you are using AI to be a better product person. That is showing competence. So those are even if you're working in a product that's got native AI, there are still things you can do to showcase yourself.
So there's a couple things, Ryan, that I would like to throw in there. One is, and I think you talked to it, but I'd be upfront with it, which is don't be afraid to say you've used AI in helping you do some of the things you do as a product manager.
There
Don't
you go.
don't don't have it be hidden in the background because it's showing that you have some skills to leverage some of the tools that are out there, right? And the other thing that you talked about a little bit, Ryan, was just think in an AI first world,
Mhm.
right? How can AI help me solve some of the problems that my customers or my business is having, right? Think back to the days in the early 2000s when the web was becoming a accepted methodology or accepted technology to use, right? Um, it isn't just throwing it at any random problem, but thinking, what happens in mobile first? So what happens in web first? Well, what happens in AI first? How can I leverage the data that I have and that I'm
Mhm.
getting through my technologies? How can I leverage it to create better products?
Mhm. And with that, Kenny, we are at time. Thanks for sticking with us,
Perfect.
everybody. We appreciate you spending time out of your busy days and look for our follow up. And we can't wait to see you in the next one. So
Thank
thank
you
you,
very much.
everybody.
Have a great day.